This is to give me FOMO, to give you FOMO. I already have FOMO. This is the FOMO video of the year. I'm just gonna express remorse. I'm gonna express pain, the pain that I feel of not having read these books. I'm sure some of you feel the way that I do. I'm sure some of you have a TBR longer than your Hi everyone, it's me, Jess. How are you? I have the most exciting video for you today. This is a video about all the books that I didn't read in 2024 that I wanted to read in 2024. I can tell you that my TBR stretches around the world several times. So here today is my list of 24 books that I really wish I had read in 2024. This is so embarrassing, but I'm gonna start with a couple of books that I've talked about having been on TBRs this year that I either started and didn't finish or just didn't get to. There's a lot of those. I'm gonna highlight a couple of those because these are the ones that I really wish I had. I'm not gonna say a lot about each of these books. I'm gonna express the guilt. I'm gonna express the deep regret. I'm gonna express the remorse, the pain that I feel of not having gotten to these books this year. These are books that I genuinely want to read, and hopefully they will make it into my TBRs and onto my bedside table next year. One I can say for sure will, because it's my book club's pick for January. We meet at the beginning of the month, so it'll be in the beginning of January that I read this one, and I haven't talked about it on my channel yet. So that one I'm definitely going to be reading for sure. I know I'm going to be judging again for the BookTube prize, which, by the way, I think that Robert might still be looking for judges, so if it's something you're interested in, I'll leave the information in the description box below. He always needs judges, so please, if you're interested, definitely fill in the form. So I'm hoping that with the BookTube prize, maybe I will get to read some of these because they might be added to the pool. As with every year, I never get to all of the books that I would like to read. So I'm going to start with some that I started and never finished, which is a bit embarrassing, but we're all human, right? And then I'm going to get into the ones that I wish that I'd gotten to, that I either purchased and never got to, or that I took out of the library on numerous occasions, started, got 30 pages in, and then had to return to the library, or never got my mitts on in the first place. I'm not going to say too much about these books. I'm just going to run through these fairly quickly and make it a relatively short video. So the first one is Kairos by Jenny Erpenbeck. I've been talking about this book since I covered it on one of the Globe and Mail's lists way back when, I think in the beginning of the year or even last year. It was published in 2023, so it's quite possible I talked about it last year. This is the story of a woman who is younger, who's in a relationship with an older man, and it's set at the time of the fall of the Berlin Wall. So I think there's quite a bit of writing about the differences politically there. I got 20 pages in. This won the International Booker this year. Really, really want to read it. Started it in the summer. I don't know how I got sidetracked. Same thing goes for The Coast Road, and I am so disappointed in myself with this one because I think just it's one of those situations where I was reading more than one book at the same time, and I just wasn't paying close enough attention to this one. Even though I did find it very good, I only managed to get to page 60, and I can't tell you very much about it. I can't really remember very much about it, which is awful. But I really want to read it. It's a debut novel by Murrin. A lot of people were talking about this when they were making their predictions videos. A lot of people really love this book. I know Ben over at Ben Reads Good really enjoyed it. I know that MJ in Canada, who's one of my regular commenters and a member of my audience, really loved it. Didn't get to it, just wasn't able to get to it. So I am hoping to pick that one up again early in the new year. Anita de Monte Laughs Last. This was my book club pick for the summer, one of the months in the summer. Because I couldn't attend book club because I think I was traveling, I didn't end up attending book club. I didn't end up finishing the book, which is terrible, but I still would like to read this. I know that it's based off the life of a real artist who is discussed in Monsters, 50 pages in. I'm gonna have to start these all from the start again, I think, in order to do them justice. Another book that I took out of the library, I think I had it out on ebook on Libby. I had it physically out from 2 different libraries. I was so determined to get to it. There's actually a couple of these. The first one is My Friends by Hisham Matar. I don't know how I didn't get to this book. I was so excited to read it. I was really excited for it. It was on my predictions list for the Booker Prize predictions, and it just did not happen. I don't know what to say. I still really want to read it. Will I ever read it? I mean, I hope that it's listed for the BookTube Prize and that I get it, because that will probably be the most likely way. It was also a National Book Award finalist. I have to read My Friends. I have to read it. It's about a man named Khaled who attends a protest against the Gaddafi regime in Libya, but he's in London attending the protest, and something tragic happens at this protest. I don't know what happens after that. I think he reconnects with an old friend. I don't know. I want to go in sort of blind, so I'm not going to continue to read the synopsis. But similarly, I never got to Creation Lake, which I also took out of the library numerous times, which I'm really bummed about, because Creation Lake was the one book on the Booker list that I was most excited to read. Honestly, I don't know what happened. I just got so sidetracked. So yeah, Creation Lake by Rachel Kushner. And it sounds so gripping. It's about a secret agent and she infiltrates this society. Oh no, she becomes like completely entranced by this mysterious figure, Bruno Lacombe, who's running this. He's kind of a mentor, I think, for young activists, and they're going back to like a more primitive way of life. It sounds so good. I can't believe I never got to it. And for shame, another book that I had to return to the library was Evenings and Weekends, which I started, and I think, again, I got about 50 pages into it and I never was able to finish it. It's about young people living their lives in and around London. The book opens with a whale being stuck in the Thames. I never know how to say the Thames. I think it's about these young people and their lives, and it's written by an Irish author, and I'd heard really, really good things about it. In a similar vein, I have never actually read anything by Sally Rooney, so I was going to really initiate myself into Sally Rooney with Intermezzo, which I never got a chance to read. I mean, to be fair, it's not available in the library. I could have read it on the ebook, but I don't know. Sally Rooney is just one of those authors that I've never read, and I thought it would be a good place to start because it's about brothers and chess, and I think it would be interesting to start there. And because so many people were talking about it, I really wanted to read it. I wanted to be part of the conversation. Speaking of which, Rejection by Tulathimutte. I hope I'm saying his name right. I never know how to pronounce his name. I talked about it in my gift guide. A friend of mine has read it, said it was good. Other people I know have read it, said it was kind of over the top. I really want to read this one. It's a set of interconnected stories that revolve around life online and on social media, and revolve around the notion of rejection. I also really wanted to read Headshot. I saw it a few times in my library and I kept thinking, oh, I really want to read it. It's about women boxers. It's supposed to be really good. I've heard very good things about it. But again, I just did not have a chance to get to it this year, but it is one of the ones that was on the list that I really wanted to read. It sounds good. I have not read The Vegetarian by Kang. It's a little book. I've talked about this for TBRs for the Asian Reading Challenge in April. Never have gotten to it. It's just a thin book, and now that she has won the Nobel Prize, I've moved it up my TBR, but have not gotten to it yet. I've heard it's weird, but very, very good. There are a couple of books that were on the Carol Shields prize list that I thought were really interesting that I actually purchased, which I didn't get to. The first is Land of Milk and Honey. This is about a chef who has gone to work for the ultra rich on a secluded resort. I'm not sure what happens. It says the chef's enigmatic employer and his visionary daughter draw the chef into a startling attempt to reimagine the world. It sounds interesting. It's been recommended to me by several different people, so I would like to read this one. I'm kind of hoping this will be on the BookTube prize list as well. Daughter by Claudia Day. I really wanted to read this when it came out on the Carol Shields prize list, and when I read about it in one of those Globe and Mail lists that I sometimes do. This is about a woman who's a playwright and an actress, and it's about her terrible father and that dynamic. I don't know too much more about it than that, but I've also heard good things. I think she's his muse or something like that. Good material by Dolly Alderton. Really wanted to read this one. I'd really like to read something by Dolly Alderton. It's a little bit like the situation with Sally Rooney for me. I've never read anything of hers. I have her book Ghosts on my shelf, which might be a really good place for me to start. But because I've heard so many good things about good material, I was hoping to get to it this year. I thought it would be funny and entertaining, and I talked about it on my gift guide that I recently made a video for. Sorry, I had to move the camera because the light is moving. It's that time of day in the afternoon when the light moves around. Another book that I took out of the library that I heard really wonderful things about leading up to the Booker announcement was The Safekeep. I also took this out on audio on Libby, and I started it, but I didn't get very far with it. This is about the tensions around a guest who's staying in a woman's house, and I think the woman believes that she's stealing things from her. That's all I really know about it going in. I'd really like to read this one because, again, I've heard really good things about it, and I'm curious. It sounds interesting. Other physical books that I have with me that I was really hoping to get to this year but wasn't able to. Absolution by Alice McDermott. I talked about this one as well in the gift guide video that I made. This is about women's role really during the Vietnam War, and it's supposed to be very, very good. It was on several best books lists last year, and I've never read anything by Alice McDermott, so I felt really lucky when I saw this. I don't usually buy a hardcover, and look, it has the gold leaf. I saw this at my used bookstore actually just yesterday, and it made me think of making this video, and so I picked it up, and I really want to read this one sooner rather than later. The Center. I don't know where I heard about this book, but it was also published in 2023, but this doesn't have the beautiful cover with the flowers. It has a smaller image of the flowers on the front. In the back it says, Anita dreams of being a translator of great works of literature, but mostly spends her days subtitling Bollywood movies. Meanwhile, her mediocre white boyfriend Adam has somehow learned to speak Urdu practically overnight. Anita forces him to reveal his secret, The Center, an elite invite-only program that guarantees complete fluency in any language in just 10 days. I mean, it just sounds so good. I've heard good things about it. I don't even want to read the rest of the back because I want to go in a little bit blind, but this sounds really fun. Might be frightening, but it sounds really good. Fun, frightening. You know what I mean. Brutes by Liz Tate. I think this is also a 2023 book, but I only really caught wind of it this summer in the UK. Kit from Kit the Reader, I think, mentioned this, and ever since then I haven't been able to stop thinking about it. This is like, I think, a coming of age story. In Falls Landing, Florida, a place built of theme parks, swampy lakes, and scorched bougainvillea flowers, something sinister lurks in the deep. A gang of 13-year-old girls obsessively orbits around the local preacher's daughter, Sammy. It says, darkly beautiful and brutally compelling, Liz Tate captures the violence, horrors, and manic joys of girlhood. So this sounds really good as well. Books that I don't have copies of that I keep hearing things about that I really would love to get to and read at some point in my life. Colored Television by Denzi Senna. I keep hearing good things about this one. I saw it on the shelf in my library, but because I'm reading what I'm reading for the Reindeer Readathon and I have some other commitments this month, I didn't take it out of the library because I thought I would just be teasing myself and have to return it anyway. But I know I can get it at my library. It tells the story of Jane, a biracial writer working on the mulatto war and peace and struggling to maintain her family's precarious middle-class creative lifestyle. In the hopes of a more lucrative career, she turns to glittering Hollywood and teams up with a hotshot young producer to make a prestige TV biracial comedy for a streaming network. And somehow I just missed out on hearing about it sooner in the year. I feel like I heard about it late in the year and just wasn't able to get there. That's actually true for most of the books left on my list. I think I just heard about them late in the year and I haven't had a chance to get to them. Yeah, another book like that that kind of came on my radar a little bit late is Hum. So Hum is by Helen Phillips. I've never read anything by Helen Phillips either. It's set in a near future world aided by climate change and inhabited by intelligent robots called Hums. Our main character, May, loses her job to artificial intelligence. It sounds like it's probably a little bit scary, but I'm interested. A similar type of book to Hum is Annie Bot by Sierra Greer. This is about a robot that was created to be the... Oh, sorry about that, everyone. The battery in my regular camera died. I think I have a battery that... I think I might have to replace the battery for my other camera. Here's my tree, by the way. My tree arrived. You'll see it in the vlog. I'm really happy that my tree is here. She's a beauty. Okay, so I was talking about Annie Bot when my battery died. It is a robot that was created for a human owner, trying to satisfy every emotional need and physical need. I think that sounds like an interesting premise. I mean, I don't think that it's not been done before, but I haven't really read anything like that yet. So I'd like to read Annie Bot. And I also really want to read The Husbands by Holly Gramazio, which I also talked about in my gift guide. It sounds so good. It's about a woman who comes home and she's introduced to her husband who she didn't realize she was married to. And then it unravels as to how she could possibly be married to somebody who she doesn't know, who is an actual stranger. Another book that kind of came on my radar a little bit late, despite the fact that it was published earlier this year, is Piglet by Lottie Hazel. I haven't heard that many people talking about Piglet. So it's a story that is told almost exclusively through dialogue and descriptions of food. And it sounds like maybe that wouldn't work, but I've heard some positive things about it. It's about a woman and her relationship to food. And I think it covers more than that. I think it talks also about class. I don't know that much about it, but it's something that is on my radar and that I haven't been able to stop thinking about since I first heard about it, that I really wish I had gotten to this year. I haven't actually seen it in my library. I'm gonna have to really seek it out. I haven't really tried to seek that one out. And the last one is one that I have a copy of that is the book club pick for my book club for 2020 January. We're meeting like the first week of January, like I said, and that is Butter. I'm so excited to read this, although I don't know if there's any cannibalism in this book. Somebody let me know in the comments below if you've read it, if there's real cannibalism or not. Actually, don't let me know. I don't want to know. By Azako Yuzuki. This is about a chef who's a serial killer. It sounds really good. I think it just won an award. I don't know, Nero maybe? Maybe it won the Nero Prize. Okay, pardon me, Waterstones, not Nero. I don't know. I'm sorry. For my UK watchers, I know there's not that many of you, but I get things mixed up. So this actually won Waterstones. There's so many prizes now. It's great, but I can't keep track of everything. Anyway, I'm really looking forward to reading this at the end of this month, beginning of January. It's going to be the first book I read in January, I think. Translated by Polly Barton, and it's about gourmet cook Manako Kaji, who sits in the Tokyo detention house convicted of the serial murders of lonely businessmen whom she is said to have seduced with her delicious home cooking. Sounds good. I'm really looking forward to it. I really do hope to get to some of these books in the future, either by judging for the BookTube prize or just making sure that I read from my shelves next year as much as I can, and not to get too bedazzled by new books that come into the conversation on BookTube, or by everybody's best books of the year lists, which I'm very anxious for, but also nervous for, because I know my TBR is already out of control as usual, and I don't know how I'm going to choose between all of these good books. So yeah, that's my FOMO list for 2024, 24 books that I wish that I'd gotten to in 2024. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now.
It's a cold night, baby, and
why is that on my list? Nope. No, I don't want to read that.
And the snow keeps falling down.
I was gonna, what's that? Like,
Lit a
where's your
fire
cherry? Oh, I don't know
down
what the expression is. But I was gonna,
I just love
and
the
somebody
way
please let me know in the comments below if I'm
you
saying
carry the crown.
Thames, right? To maintain her family's precarious.
It's just me and you tonight, and
I'm not even gonna say that word.
We'll be in our happy place. This December will be the best, I'm pretty sure.